Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, so of course we do another Snap Count Monday. And obviously, I think the most interesting thing from the snap count this week was that Russell Wilson didn't play every offensive snap for the first time in forever. So that's probably what's on your mind, but there's other interesting stuff on the snap count chart that we're going to be looking at in this video. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the offense. Now, before we get into the players, we played 65 offensive snaps against the Rams, which was a season high by a pretty wide margin, 65. So, in a bout of irony, in the game where you lose your quarterback, you end up actually playing a reasonable number of offensive snaps. And I have to be the one to point out that part of the reason why was because Geno Smith was able to sustain two longer drives that kept the offense on the field. Again, this is not going to be a Geno Smith channel now. I'm not going to try to convince you that he's better than Wilson, but he did sustain two drives, and that was a big part of the reason why this offense played 65 snaps instead of 55. So with that in mind, let's go forward. Starting with the running backs. Obviously, we had no Carson, and we had no Penny. We had three running backs on Thursday against the Rams. Alex Collins got most of the snaps. He got 46 out of 65, so a pretty large share. I don't know if he needed to get that many. I'm not a huge fan of DJ Dallas or Travis Homer, but I think you could give those guys a little bit more. I don't think it's anything to really nitpick about right now, especially with all the big problems with this team. But yeah, DJ Dallas got 14 snaps and Travis Homer got 8. So pretty one-sided running back split. And I did see some plays where we had a fullback, but in the sense that we technically had a fullback, but it was more like a two-back backfield. So that was kind of interesting. Something new, something to think about. All right, let's go to wide receivers. And interestingly enough, we had a lot of plays with no Metcalf. Not a lot, but enough to make me notice. He only played 48 snaps, and I don't think he got hurt. So we're definitely experimenting with more Metcalf-less sets than I was expecting this year. He's still at 85% for the season, or almost 86. Lockett played 56 snaps, and he's up to 88.3 for the season. So Lockett's actually playing a couple more snaps than Metcalf, which I did not see coming at all. Eskridge still out. Freddie Swain played 40 snaps, so we kind of gravitated back towards that three-receiver set as a base. So Freddie Swain got to play quite a few snaps, 40 out of 65. Penny Hart also got a decent chunk of the playing time, 12 snaps, not bad. And Philip Dorsett, the recent addition, got 5. Okay, so finally we're going to wrap up the offense by looking at the tight ends. No Gerald Everett. All these injuries are just messing with these snap counts, man. They're not indicative of what we actually want to do because we have so many important players just missing the game. But whatever, it is what it is. Disley played almost every snap. 57 out of 65, and that's to be expected when you don't have Gerald Everett, and we know that this is an offense that wants to utilize their tight ends, which is well represented by the fact that Colby Parkinson had 35 snaps. So we had two tight ends on the field a pretty decent amount, less than half the time if you do the math, but a decent chunk of the time. And Mabry had 3 snaps as well. So that's your tight end split. Pretty much what you would expect when you don't have Everett out there. Interested to see what Everett does when he gets back, though. Okay, let's go over to the defense now, starting with, of course, the defensive ends. And this is all kind of messed up right now because we had so many guys playing through injuries or just returning from injuries, and it really showed if you take a look at these snap counts. Carlos Dunlap, who did gut it out there, played 20 snaps out of 67, by the way. We played 67 snaps on defense, which was a season low for the defense by a pretty decent chunk. So, in the irony of ironies, in a game that is a complete disaster for the Seahawks on multiple levels, it's actually the game where this team sees some balance in terms of offensive versus defensive snaps. But anyway, Dunlap played like 30% of the snaps, so normally I would complain about this, but he was just coming off an injury, so whatever. Alton Robinson played 6 snaps because he was injured as well, I think. I'm I understand that Alton Robinson's not 100% right now, but if he can only play 6 out of 67 snaps, why is he active? Why even activate him? Can't you find another defensive end, pull one off the practice squad or pull one off the street? I would rather have some scrub for 30 snaps than Alton Robinson for 6. What's the point if he's only... I don't think he aggravated the injury in the middle of the game. He just didn't play hardly. So unless there's something going on here that I really don't understand, this seems like a mistake to me. Mayoa, also coming back from an injury, played 22 snaps. So you can see a lot of our chief guys just a little limited. A lot of guys we really probably would have used quite a bit limited. Kerry Hyder picked up some slack. He had 39 snaps, and I think Hyder's actually playing pretty well. He's one of the guys on this defense I don't hate. And Rasheem Green played 48. He continues to be a massive snap sponge. Not doing a hell of a lot with those snaps, but he's playing, and there's something to be said for that. Okay, defensive tackles now, and this is a pretty expected split, all things considered. Poona Ford played 45 snaps. Al Woods played 43, so those guys are really emerging as the 1 and 2. Monet played 26. His workload is getting reduced a little bit. I don't know if it's just a matchup thing. I don't know if he's still not 100% back from that injury. Not 100% sure what's going on there, but Monet's up to 26 now, but that's still lower than what it was earlier this season. LJ Collier, some of these snaps came at end, but he did play 19 snaps. So that might be the last time we ever see LJ Collier play for the Seahawks. I don't know because, he didn't really do anything now, did he? And Kim Dichie was inactive, so he had no snaps. Okay, linebacker. Bobby Wagner played every snap like he always does. Jordyn Brooks played over 90% of the snaps. And in a vacuum, that's whatever. But with all the success that we had in our dime package last week with Ryan Neal out there, then I don't understand why you come back the next week and say, okay, we're going to abandon that dime package and just put Jordyn Brooks on the field for almost every play. Jordyn Brooks, I'm not saying he's bad. I'll even say that he showed some competency as a pass rusher the previous 2 weeks. And I know there are some things he can do well, but he is a very, very flawed player in coverage right now, quite simply. And when you're playing a Rams team that is going to really test your secondary, test your coverage, air the ball out, definitely going to go at any perceived coverage weaknesses, I don't know why you would put Jordyn Brooks on the field so much. I do want to find out if Brooks can sink or swim. As of right now, I kind of feel like he's headed toward Bustville, but I want to find out. But in a game that we really needed to win to keep hope alive for this season, yeah, I don't know if I understand that. Darrell Taylor had 22 snaps. I would normally complain about that, but he was coming off an injury, and we don't know how much of him he was hindered by, so 22 is what it is. He did a lot with those 22 snaps, I think, though, so we got to get Taylor out there as much as possible going forward. That is the one guy on this defense who's really just passing with flying colors for me. Barton got held out of the game again, which I like. I just think there's very low upside there. Nothing from Ballard, nothing from Radigan, and that's your linebackers. Now let's go to our cornerbacks. This is going to be pretty quick. Reed and Jones play every snap because, of course, they do. Bless You One Austin apparently got a few snaps. I didn't notice it, but he got 4 snaps according to the snap count chart. So here's the intriguing part of the cornerback depth chart. So let's spend a few minutes here, and then that'll be the end of the video. So Marquise Blair, I don't know if he's 100% right now, but he had 18 snaps. Ugo Amadi had 27. So they're still coming in and out. There's still some give and take there. There's still some back and forth there. But Amadi is getting a lion's share of the snaps right now. And I understand he has more experience. I understand he played pretty well last year, but I just don't see the upside with Ugo at this point. Last year I was pretty high on him, but this year his game, I don't know if it's him. It could just as easily be the scheme. It could be the coordinator. I get that. But Blair is the guy with talent. Blair is the guy with upside. Blair is the guy who could become a great player in the league. Amadi, his ceiling is just lower. So I don't know why Blair sees so little action right now. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. would really like to see those numbers start to flip. I know Blair's going to make more mistakes, but at least he's going to make more plays. So right now, neither guy looks amazing, admittedly, but there are structural problems with this defense that are much bigger than the nickel corner. Get Blair out there more. And, of course, the big controversy this week for a lot of people was Ryan Neal playing 6 snaps the week after he actually got involved and played pretty well against the Niners, getting 26. So it doesn't make sense. I can't make sense of it. 26 snaps, you're getting good stuff from him. The defense plays better with him out there. And then you just cut his playing time. Maybe some of you guys were hoping that I could provide some clarity on why that might be. And I know Carroll tried to say it was a matchup thing where the other team was dictating who we were putting on the field. But sometimes you just got to put your dime defense out there anyway. I know it's going to create problems like stopping the run, but you can't stop the run anyway. I know it could create other problems with like size-wise, but this defense is so bad right now, you have nothing to lose. You got to get Ryan Neal on the field. And I don't know exactly what we're going to see from that going forward, but I would hope that we learned a lesson on Thursday night at least. And obviously, little things like this are not going to save this season, but they can at least indicate some sign of competency from the coaching staff if they get their players who are helping this team play better on the field more. And that's it for Snap Count Monday. It feels insignificant right now, but there's some interesting stuff here. Wanted to spend some time on it. A lot of injuries are really kind of making this muddy, but still some interesting information to parse out. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Probably a stream later, and that's it.